Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. First, a quick announcement. Many of you already heard in the other batches that Zoom has fixed the glitch, at least part one of the glitch that they have fixed, that an update has been installed on my computer. So going forward, you should be able to listen to class recordings on your phones. So many of you have already tested, and to others who are virtually present, even though you are virtually present, I will send you today's class recording just to test that you are able to play the recordings on your phone. And the second part of the update from Zoom is that they still have to get a patch installed on your phones, which they are still working on. They haven't yet provided a timeline for that, which I'm hoping it should also resolve for you to play the past recordings. I still don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. So at least I'm going to send to you all the recordings from today, even though you are virtually present, just so as we can test and see how it goes. The second announcement, we will finish Nectar of Instruction in our next class. And then from following class, we will start Nectar of Devotion. So for Nectar of Devotion, I will post in the chat for you all to print and download a shell document, as well as I will post Srila Prabhupada reciting Nectar of Devotion invocation prayers. The invocation prayers for Nectar of Devotion are slightly different. So I have posted them in the chat, both of them. So download and print the Nectar of Devotion, the shell document. I will also bring up on screen. Each of the lines that you have on the Nectar of Devotion shell document, some are dotted, some are bold. Each one of them have a significance. So you will have to just print it. I think my screen is not shared, so let me share. Okay, so each of these lines, dotted and bold and arrows and boxes, each of them have a significance. So print on a legal size page. If you try to do virtually, could be a challenge. It's a little complicated. And on page 2, you have these charts. For chart number 4, I want you to draw on a blank page because it will not fit. Just take a blank page, a letter or legal size, and just draw these 4 boxes like these. Everybody on the same page, you will download and have it ready for you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So today, I will first answer inquiries submitted from the previous class, and then we will continue nectar of instruction. We'll cover text number 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll cover a lot of text today. And in our following class, we will aim to finish nectar of instruction. So let me bring up on screen. Question number 1. If Sri Krishna comes through the years, so I shouldn't say question number 1. So this is question number 7 because it's a continuation from the leftover questions from before. So it's actually question number 7 in the sequence. I've answered the previous ones earlier. If Sri Krishna comes through the years, how does Srimati Radharani come? It is said that Srimati Radharani is the heat, means Purna Shakti, and Sri Krishna is the fire, Purna Shaktiman. So multiple people who have experienced fire may explain fire to someone who is in the dark cave and never seen any light. But how to make a person in a dark cave feel the heat? There's no option of any light or fire in the cave. Your cave can also represent a comfort zone or past conditioning. So the question has the analogy in there. Now, Krishna is always with his devotees. Krishna coming through the years means spirituality is coming through the years, that devotional service is the eternal Swarupa of the soul, and we need to do devotional service. And we do devotional service under Srimati Radharani. So the second part of the question about the analogy, that for those who have never seen the sun, meaning those who do not know about Krishna, about spirituality at all, for them, therefore, we go out on preaching endeavors and show them books, give them prasad, so that they get the mercy of the Lord as well. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 8. How to understand if knowledge is important or feeling, doing without consciously without consciously knowing is important. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the Vrajavasi gopis were devotees of the highest orders, even if they did not know any scriptures. Can that be possibly attributed to their strong feelings, hence actions for Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna? So His Grace Chaitanya Chandas was asked this exact same question, and I will repeat the answer he gave. The answer is that use whatever works for you. For someone like me, having no devotion, no knowledge, and high ignorance, study of scriptures to gain knowledge so as to get some basic footing on the path of spirituality is required. For me, study of scriptures is required. For Gopas and Gopis, as well as anyone from Vrindavan who have natural devotion, they don't need to study any scriptures. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Tadami buddhi yogam tam, that Krishna gives the knowledge to one who is devoted to Krishna. Anybody wants to recite and read Bhagavad Gita 10.10 verse and the translation? Matchitta matkat tatama.
I can do that. 10.10.
Yeah, sorry, I recited Matchitta is wrong. That was 10.9. Yeah, go ahead. Tesam savatam yuktanam.
Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upanayatite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
So the second line says bhajatam priti purvakam, that those who are constantly engaged in loving devotional service. Then he says tadami buddhi yogam tam, I give them the knowledge by which they come to me. So Krishna gives the knowledge, and therefore Gopas and Gopis, they don't need to study anything. For others, they may need to study. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Next question. Question number 9. Is there any shloka in the scriptures that mentions that it is okay to say no without feeling guilty of being disliked? How to know when to stop helping someone? So you try to help everyone as much as is possible for you without being attached to the results. Then you will not have this question of how to know when to stop helping others. We'll soon read 1.13.46. Priyanka will be reading. You can bring it up. 1.13.46. So the context of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.46 is that after the Kurukshetra war, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari are living in the palace with Yudhishthir. And then Vidura comes back from his pilgrimage and chastises Dhritarashtra very badly, resulting in Dhritarashtra getting realization, and both Dhritarashtra and Gandhari leave the palace without telling anyone. So every morning, Yudhishthir would usually come to offer obeisances to Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, but Yudhishthir could not find Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And Yudhishthir wanted to go out and try to find them. At that time, Shri Narad Muni appears there and tells Yudhishthir not to go for searching for Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, because no one can protect anyone. And then Srila Narad Muni speaks this Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.46 verse. Priyanka, you want to read 1.13.46?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? Hare Krishna.
So you are under the jaws of guna, kala, and karma. How are you able to protect or help anyone? No, you cannot. So basically, you just try to do your dharma of trying to help others as much as is possible for you, and beyond a point, pray to Krishna to protect the other person because Krishna is the only protector. Does that answer the inquiry? Mhm. So now question series starts from 1 because these are the questions from the last class. Question is, so this devotee tried to attend the japa group. So it's very good that you are trying to attend the japa group. Very good. And the question is that I tried attending japa group of devotees twice via WhatsApp. First time as I was asked to do 1 round of japa, I felt comfortable. But second time I was not able to cope up with the speed of japa of advanced devotees. Though I was able to feel the difference of japa done along with devotees, being in initial stage, can you please help in how to handle this situation? So this is exactly what used to happen with me as well. At the start, that devotees would generally finish their japa round while I am still about 4 or 5 beads left over yet to finish. So you just continue the group japa by you chanting at your pace and keeping others japa at a little soft voice. So it is actually super excellent that you notice the difference of doing japa in association with devotees. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 2. Why does karma not intersect with spirituality? Doesn't spirituality make us do better karma? So we have discussed, and we'll discuss further in upcoming Nectar of Devotion as well, that bhakti comes from bhakti. And no material endeavor grants you bhakti, and no material endeavor can elevate you on the path of bhakti. We have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita 3.33 and 34 verses, that when Shudra starts practicing bhakti, the Shudra will continue his Varnik duties, and simultaneously the Shudra will drop his anarthas as he is progressively getting purified. So yes, bhakti makes you do better karma. Still, spirituality and materiality are like oil and water, they do not mix. So as is described in Bhagavad Gita 7.28, that to be steady on the path of spirituality, one needs to be steady at the mode of goodness. But then we have to cross the mode of goodness also. Somebody wants to read Bhagavad Gita 7.28 translation?
I can read that.
Somebody.
7.28. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
So when your past sinful actions are eradicated, then you are past the dualities and you engage in spirituality, in doing devotional services. So we have discussed the example of December 31st every year at midnight Harinam, that drunk people are dancing to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra when devotees are chanting Harinam around City Hall. And these drunk people come to temple with His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami. These drunk people attend Mangalarti, these drunk people honor Prasadam, and then they are never to be seen again because they are in the mode of ignorance. Rest of the devotees, they are regularly coming to the temple for services. Does that answer the inquiry? There's a question posted in the chat that in trying to help others and also pray to Krishna, how do we draw the line for our part? Can we get away with just praying to Krishna and not helping? I'm assuming it says not helping ourselves, but it should be not helping others. So, in terms of you just praying to Krishna and not helping others, meaning you don't want to do your dharma, so you answer. A mother's dharma is to take care of the child, specifically when the child is young, newborn. So if the child is crying in the middle of night, does the mother say, oh, this is your karma, what can I do? You just suffer. Anybody? Does the mother ever say that?
No,
No.
Prabhu.
No.
What does the mother do?
Pacify the baby.
Right, so this is mother's dharma. Yes, the child is suffering. Yes, it's a fact that it is because of the child's karma. But that's not what the mother says. We have discussed this at great length in our karma discussion. That for yourself, beat yourself up about karma so that you stop doing bad karma on a go forward basis. For others, do not bring up karma. For others, you act according to your dharma as much as is possible. Beyond a point, recognize that it is only Krishna who can protect. You are just helping, you are just trying to purify yourself by developing the soft heartedness, by developing the compassionate nature. Abhishek Prabhu, does that help?
Yes, Prabhu.
Right. Question number 3. What should we do if we are not able to follow all the principles mentioned in Nectar of Instruction? So as we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 verses 20 onwards are the characteristics or the qualities possessed by a Siddha, and these qualities, characteristics are to be developed or practiced by a sadhaka. So these characteristics, these qualities, or even Nectar of Instruction instructions are our goals to move towards to. So if you are already following all the instructions of Nectar of Instruction, well, then you would probably be already a pure devotee. So you just keep trying to practice without getting disheartened. Just continue practicing because these are your goals. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Question number 4. What is the confidential service of the Lord? Is it same as 9 types of services mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam? So the 9 types of devotional service mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23 are the devotional services that one can do. Understand confidential service to the Lord as a personal service, such as fanning the Lord while the Lord is resting, etc. So this point about this personal service will get covered in upcoming Nectar of Devotion very, very soon. Last question for today. What about a neophyte who is so skeptical about devotee association and avoids it at all cost? How do we bring them to realize that they can share their heart with us? So we have discussed this in Guhyam Akyati Prachati text number 4 verse, and Samma had pointed out the answer to this as building a trust or having a trusting relationship. So you create a conducive environment. You create a welcoming environment around you so that everyone feels comfortable to be able to approach you to talk to you. even if it's a newcomer, you create that conducive environment and let others come to you. By creating the conducive environment, you are creating that trusting environment so that somebody will be able to come and talk to you. Don't be like me. Devotees here around temple, they will say, oh, Gabbar Singh aa gaya. Don't be like me. Do you develop a conducive environment? Does that answer the inquiry? All right. So now I'll bring up stacking points, take snapshot. So you have 5 slides. This is slide number 1. Slide number 2. Slide number 3. Slide 4. Slide 5. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So we will now continue nectar of instruction from text number 5 onwards. And today we will aim to cover text number 5, 6, 7, 8. A pretty straightforward text. So text number 5, the theme or the title is Associate According to Levels of Advancement. So text number 4 is the start of association with devotees point, where we discuss the 6-fold loving exchanges. So text number 4 is general reciprocation with all devotees. Text number 5 states that there are multiple levels of devotees. And with different devotees, we need to reciprocate differently. Let's read text number 5 translation. Meghna Samant, are you able to read text number 5 translation?
Yes, Prabhu. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation or diksha and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve the pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of a propensity to criticize others.
So text number 5 is describing 3 levels of devotees. Lowest is Kanishta Adhikari, next level up is Madhyam Adhikari, and the highest is Uttam Adhikari. Text number 5 verse is talking about different devotees being offered different levels of respect. So Srila Prabhupada wanted all of us to rise to Madhyam Adhikari level. Even spiritual masters who are at the highest Uttam Adhikari levels, Srila Prabhupada said they should also come down to the Madhyam Adhikari level, because for preaching, Madhyam Adhikari level is better. Uttam Adhikari, he only sees the soul. He doesn't see the body. Well, right now, but all souls are in body. So Madhyam Adhikari sees both body as well as soul. And for a newcomer, for a neophyte, for materialistic people, they will need solutions for both body and soul. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said everyone should come to the Madhyam Adhikari level. Now, the primary difference between the Kanishta Adhikari and the Madhyam Adhikari is the appreciation of devotees. Kanishta Adhikari does not appreciate devotees, while Madhyam Adhikari appreciate devotees. So we'll soon discuss the characteristics of all of them and you'll become more clear. Now, these words, Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari, they are not specified in scriptures. So how does this come? Where does this? So Srila Prabhupada is giving this nomenclature based on what the scriptures have described. So in Srimad Bhagavatam also, these words Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari, these terms are not used. What the terms used in Srimad Bhagavatam are, in Srimad Bhagavatam it says Uttam Bhagavata and Madhyam Bhagavata, and for Kanishta Adhikari the word used is Prakrita Bhagavata. Now Prakrita comes from Prakriti, means material nature, means that Prakrita Bhagavata is materialistic. So one who sees material things alone, that is Kanishta. So based on the words used in Srimad Bhagavatam, that's how Srila Prabhupada has given the nomenclature of Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. Now, Adhikari means authority, and Adhikari means one who possesses that authority. The Kanishta Adhikari means one whose authority is lowest, is inferior. Madhyam Adhikari means one whose authority is excellent or superior. Now, this authority is not by birth. Adhikar and Adhikari is based on faith and knowledge. For Kanishta Adhikari, both knowledge and faith is very less. At Kanishta Adhikari level, spiritual practice is unsteady and he may fall away at any time. For Madhyam Adhikari, the faith is deep, but knowledge is not so deep. While for Uttam Adhikari, both faith and knowledge are very deep. These levels, these adhikars, are a progression. They are not static till death. So we try to keep moving upwards. And this adhikar is determined by our level of consciousness. So first is Kanishta level, that the person is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kanishta does worship of Gopinath at the temple. He chants Hare Krishna. He thinks, I have direct relationship with Krishna. And after going back from the temple, whatever I do, it does not matter. How I deal with others does not matter. Whether I shout at others, that does not matter. But as long as I fold my hands in front of Gopinath, I do some puja, I offer some dakshina, that's all I need to do. That is enough for me. Then I am a religious person. So all these characteristics of Kanishta Adhikari means that he is a part-time bhakti, part-time bhakta. The primary characteristics of Kanishta Adhikari that he does not have appreciation for devotees. So whatever be the understanding of Kanishta Adhikari person does not matter, because he is at least chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, you offer respects in your mind to such a devotee, to such a Kanishta Adhikari. Offer respects in your mind because he is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the Kanishta Adhikari sees nothing beyond materiality, and that inability to see anything higher makes such a person as a Kanishta Adhikari. Still, Krishna is there on the tongue of such a person, and therefore such a person deserves respect. One should respect with the mind, because such a person is not an ordinary person. Among millions and billions of people, this person is at least chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Therefore, we have to respect, because this person is still special. So Kanishta Adhikari only worships Gopinath in the temple and then behaves badly with others as well as behaves badly with devotees. So does not intentionally behave bad with devotees. It's just that he does not realize the value of devotees. Therefore, when there are differences, it results in conflicts. So Kanishta Adhikari is also called as neophyte. So what does neophyte mean? Neophyte, you split the words neophyte. Neophyte means new fight. That always the Kanishta Adhikari or a neophyte will find new reasons to fight with somebody or the other. Kanishta Adhikari's chanting is not with devotion, is not focused, and is not pure, and his faith is very soft. One should still respect the Kanishta Adhikari in the mind, because such a person is not ordinary, because he is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Any questions on Kanishta Adhikari before I explain Madhyam? Okay, Madhyam Adhikari.
Prabhuji, when we say respect, so like that is anyways there for any entity. So how is Kanishta different from a non-devotee in that sense?
Yeah, don't people have envy?
But
Envy
that is for anyone.
is
Sorry.
disrespect, right? So don't be envious. Don't disrespect. Disrespect can be many ways. For example, if you are inviting devotees at your home and you will say, I will not invite so and so. Well, that's a disrespect. So disrespect is not just by verbal, it's also by actions also. Abhishek Prabhu?
No, but like respect still we are supposed to respect everyone, right? Whether
You answered. You said supposed to. Verse number 5 says you should.
yes, so I'm not able to understand how is a Kanishta different from a non-devotee, like because they also should have this non-devotees should also be offered respect in the mind,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah, we should respect everyone. The difference between materialistic people and Kanishta Adhikari is that Kanishta Adhikari has started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We respect everyone. Everyone is a devotee, no doubt about it.
Mm,
Right,
yes.
Priyanka?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, why is the Kanishta Adhikari called Prakrita Bhagavata? Because we've heard Bhagavata is person Bhagavata, book Bhagavata.
Yeah, Bhagavata refers to a devotee and Prakrita refers to material. So he is a materialistic and he's also trying to be a devotee. He's in the transition. Therefore, it's referred to as Prakata Bhagavata.
Okay, okay. Hare
So the
Krishna.
word Bhagavata in Srimad Bhagavatam is there for everyone. Prakata Bhagavata is Kanishta Adhikari, then Madhyam Bhagavata is Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Bhagavata is the Uttam Adhikari. So Bhagavata on itself does not mean you are a pure devotee. So what is associated with the word Bhagavata? Uttam Bhagavata is a pure devotee. All right. So now Madhyam Adhikari. So if someone has taken first and or second initiation, that devotee is worshipping Gopinath, one should offer obeisances to such a devotee. So Madhyamadhikari has 4 characteristics. First, has love for Krishna as the object of worship. Second, mercy for innocent. Third, makes friendship with devotees. And fourth, avoids atheist people. Madhyamadhikari understands that I have a relationship with Krishna, and that relationship will be developed by how I relate with others also. Madhyamadhikari understands that Krishna consciousness is not done in isolation at the temple alone only. That I go to temple in front of Gopinath, I chant, I pray, I worship the Gopinath. That alone is not my Krishna consciousness. My Krishna consciousness is reflected and affected by my behavior with different kinds of people. The desire to share Krishna consciousness with others reflects my Krishna consciousness, because Madhyamadhikari realizes that all souls are parts and parcels of Krishna. And whichever soul is around me, you can visualize that this soul has gone away from Krishna. Now I have to help this soul to go back to Krishna. Now this attitude, this concern for connecting Krishna's lost children with Krishna, that reflects my Krishna consciousness. If this attitude is not there, then my own Krishna consciousness is very weak, is very superficial. At Madhyamadhikari stage, one is seeing the potency of devotional service in one's own life, that how I am getting purified, and hence Madhyamadhikari also wants other innocent materialistic people to also take the benefit of devotional service and get purified. Now, although Madhyamadhikari's faith is strong for himself, the Madhyamadhikari may still not be very knowledgeable to refute misconceptions of others based on scriptures, so as to present the scriptures effectively and to infuse Krishna consciousness in others. So yes, his faith is very, very strong for himself. Nobody can shake his faith, or at least will be very difficult to shake his faith. But his knowledge may not be at the highest level. He cannot convince others to take up Krishna consciousness based on scriptural knowledge. Although Madhyamadhikari is pretty high level, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that Madhyamadhikari may have inconclusive knowledge of scriptures, meaning Madhyamadhikari may not be able to conclusively explain or establish a point from scriptures. But still, Madhyamadhikari's own internal conviction is strong. Now, even if Madhyamadhikari does not know answers in logical arguments, still Madhyamadhikari keeps practicing devotional service strongly for himself. He is faithful and firm in chanting, All these are the characteristics of Madhyamadhikari. So Srila Prabhupada wanted all of us to come to Madhyamadhikari level, and even spiritual masters who are at Uttamadhikari levels, they should also come down to Madhyamadhikari, because for preaching, Madhyamadhikari level is better. So the primary difference between the Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyamadhikari is that Madhyamadhikari has the appreciation for devotees. Madhyamadhikari knows I have a relationship with Krishna, plus understands that I need to have a relationship with devotees also. Therefore, if you recall our very first Bhagavad Gita class, I had said that we all will develop close relationship with each one of us. And we all have been attempting and successful at different levels. And we continue to endeavor to develop relationship with all of us, so that we can revive our relationship with Krishna. Madhyamadhikari understands bhakti is not part-time activity. Rather, bhakti is full-time activity, and this life is just a part of the bigger bhakti that is going on life after life after life. Madhyamadhikari sees beyond the externals. Now, the difference between ISKCON devotees and Hindus, even if Hindus are worshipping Krishna, is that Hindus and others are practicing bhakti because of some traditional reasons. For them, for these Hindus, bhakti is part of life. Whereas for ISKCON serious devotees, bhakti is their whole life. Bhakti is not just part of their life. It is just that this particular life is part of the bhakti that is going on life after life after life. For ISKCON devotees, bhakti is their whole life. Serious devotees understand that life is just part of bhakti, meaning bhakti goes on for many, many lifetimes, and it is rare for someone to attain perfection in one life. It is possible, just rare. Any questions, comments, realizations on Madhyamadhikari?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, how much scripture Madhyamadhyari has to have?
There is no limit. You read Bhagavad Gita chapter 17, verse number 15. In the purport, the last line, Prabhupada says, there is limitless stock of spirituality. So it's not a mathematical number. You just keep studying. If you study all of Prabhupada books, one life is not enough for you to assemble all the information that Prabhupada has given us. So you just continue whatever you are able to do, and don't worry about a mathematical number that I need to study X number of scriptures. Matan Prabhu,
Okay, thank you.
Kunal.
So, Prabhuji, what is the use of categorizing the devotees in classes? Like if it
Yeah, very good. Hold on. Yeah, hold your thought. It's coming up discussion. Hold your thought.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So then is Uttamadhikari. Tama means darkness and Ut means beyond. So Uttama means beyond darkness. So Uttamadhikaris are beyond darkness. They are pure devotees. They are spiritual masters. So the characteristics of Uttamadhikari. First, Uttamadhikari are pure, free from anarthas. Second, seriously engaged in Lord's service. Third, spreads Krishna consciousness. Fourth, Uttamadhikari is a guru. Fifth, Uttamadhikari serves his guru. Sixth, Uttamadhikari is offenseless. Seventh, does not criticize anyone, does not have inclination to criticize anyone. And the eighth, both faith and knowledge are very deep for Uttamadhikari. So knowledge is not referring to intellectual knowledge. Knowledge is not referring to just the theoretical knowledge. Rather, knowledge is referring to applicational knowledge by which Uttamadhikari can transform ordinary people's heart to take up Krishna consciousness. So spiritual master is at Uttamadhikari level, or at least a very advanced Madhyamadhikari. We should serve Uttamadhikaris. We should desire such association and cherish such association and faithfully serve. At the highest end of Uttamadhikari, one does not see anyone at bodily level. He only sees the soul. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, for preaching, Madhyamadhikari level is better, because Madhyamadhikari will be able to see the body and the soul and will be able to see the sufferings of the conditioned soul and help him accordingly. Now, here's a question for you all. So we discussed one of the characteristics of Uttamadhikari as does not criticize anyone and does not have the inclination to criticize anyone. So have you not been criticized by your spiritual master, or you must have heard that a disciple got chastised by a spiritual master? Anybody has heard or being chastised?
Yes.
How do you
Yes.
understand? So Srila Prabhupada describes that the Uttamadhikari level has no inclination to criticize others. So not only Uttamadhikari does not criticize, further Uttamadhikari does not have any inclination to criticize others. You'll understand this with an example. At times, say at workplace, we may not criticize, say specifically we have to criticize our boss, we may not criticize because of fear of backslash. So a staff wants to burst out on a bad boss, but the person does not burst out because there is fear of backslash. So what has happened? The staff has the inclination to criticize, but he is forcefully not criticizing because of backslash. While for Uttamadhikari, a pure devotee, a spiritual master, there is no inclination to criticize. Now, this does not mean that the Uttamadhikari or spiritual master never criticizes. No. No inclination to criticize means one does not get any delight in criticizing others. So even if a pure devotee or spiritual master or Uttamadhikari criticizes, The point is that the Uttamadhikari does not love criticizing others. He does not delight in criticizing others. The point is that the Uttamadhikari, the pure devotee, may criticize, but there is no desire to criticize. But for the sake of clarifying misconceptions and to help the neophyte get out of bodily attachment, for preventing misconceptions from accumulating, the Uttamadhikari, the spiritual master, may have to speak the truth with strong words. Therefore, it may sound like they are criticizing. They are not actually criticizing, they are just trying to get the disciple out of bodily entanglement. In general, the Uttamadhikari, the advanced devotee, does not criticize anyone and does not have any inclination to criticize anyone. By serving such advanced devotees, our heart becomes purified and we develop immense attraction for Krishna, and we make rapid spiritual advancement and return back to Krishna. The example for this is Srila Narad Muni, that how a 5-year-old boy, ordinary Shudra 5-year-old boy, by serving the pure devotees, goes on to become the pure devotee that we know as Srila Narad Muni. So we have to serve humbly, to hear and to serve. So hearing itself is a service. Plus, there are other kinds of services also that we can and we should be doing for spiritual masters and pure devotees. So Srila Prabhupada quotes what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, that the characteristics of a Uttamadhikari, advanced devotee, is that a Vaishnava is known by how many Vaishnavas he makes. In the next text number 6, we will discuss that when we are serving advanced devotees, we should see them with spiritual vision and not with material vision. So, as sadhakas, we should be able to see the good in others. One does not get the label of Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari or Uttam Adhikari. So this is the point that Kunal Prabhu asked few minutes back. So I cannot put a label on myself that I am Madhyam Adhikari. Therefore, demand others to offer obeisances to me. No, it doesn't work that way. And I cannot put a label on myself that I am Uttam Adhikari and demand to offer obeisances to me and demand that others render service to me. No, things don't work like this. The focus is not on precisely categorizing people and not putting them in pigeonholes, that this devotee is Kanishta Adhikari, this is Madhyam Adhikari, this is Uttama Adhikari. No, this is not the purpose of this Nectar of Instruction text number 5 to give you the hierarchy of devotees. Rather, the classification of Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttamadhikari is for our own spiritual advancement, whether I am moving in the right direction to coming to Madhyamadhikari. I am not supposed to judge others. This is for my understanding. This is for my progression. Whether I am continuing to fight with others, what I was X number of years ago before coming to Krishna consciousness, well, then I am still stuck at Kanishta neophyte level. I have not made any progress. So what should I do to come to Madhyamadhikari level? So we associate with advanced devotees. We learn the characteristics of Madhyamadhikari and we try to develop the characteristics of Madhyamadhikari. So Kunal Prabhu's question, What is the point of these? The point is for us that am I progressing on my path of spirituality towards Madhyam Adhikari, and of course coming to Uttam Adhikari also, but at least at the start, Madhyam Adhikari is my immediate goal. Now, the other way also, you have to be very careful that someone is actually a Madhyam Adhikari, advanced devotee, but because I have grudge against that person, therefore I will treat that other advanced Madhyam Adhikari devotee as Kanishta Adhikari. Oh, don't judge others. Everybody is advanced devotee except me. I just have to focus on these characteristics for my own advancement. Kunal Prabhu, does that answer your inquiry?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Meghna, you had a question a few minutes ago.
No, I had a question at the beginning, but you answered it through the process. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So now we'll read text number 6. The text number 4 had 6-fold loving exchanges. Text number 5 says, respecting different devotees according to their levels and different levels of advancement. And text number 6 that explains how an advanced devotee should not be seen with material vision. So text number 6, the theme or the title is Associate with Pure Devotees. Diksha, text number 6 translation.
Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the water of Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy seasons are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges water do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Hare Krishna.
So just as Ganga remains pure in spite of impure things like bubble, foam, dirt, similarly, pure and advanced devotee remains transcendental even if there are some bodily defects. Now, being situated in his original Krishna consciousness position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a pure devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. So, these bodily defects, Srila Prabhupada connects the bodily defects with Bhagavad Gita 9.30 verse that apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhakt. That pure devotees' intentions are transcendental. Devotees' intentions are not affected by the bodily coverings that are around, meaning the body of the pure devotee is using to serve Krishna while he is in this world. Now a question may come up. We may wonder, why are bodily defects present? Is it because of past bad karma? Now, the principle of karma is not to be applied as a post-mortem. The principle of karma is for us to understand that if I do some wrong activity, I will face consequences. Therefore, I should stop doing the bad karma. Instead of focusing on others' karma, we should focus on our dharma. How can I help in the situation? So the karma philosophy is the philosophy of accountability, that whatever I do, I will have consequences for that. Therefore, I should act according to my dharma. If I fail in my dharma, then I will be doing bad karma and I will get negative consequences for that. So we are not meant to judge people based on their karma. Rather, we are meant to decide our actions based on our dharma. So if people are suffering from past karma, then what is the use of this humanitarian help? It is just that the humanitarian help is incomplete. We should not get too sentimental that people are suffering, we should give food. Yes, if people are starving, we should give them prasad, definitely. But the point is that if people's karmic wrongs are not corrected, then any help at the material level will not lead to any lasting solution. It should not be that all material help is banned. No, but we recognize that material help is incomplete. Incomplete does not mean it is useless. Incomplete is that there is more to it. Therefore, pure devotees' intentions are transcendental and devotees' intentions are not affected by the bodily coverings that are around. The body of pure devotee is used to serve Krishna in this world, and that's what we should focus on rather than looking at bodily defects, rather than looking or thinking, oh, he must have done some bad karma. Don't worry about others' karma. That is between them and Krishna. You just focus on your dharma. That's a quick discussion of text number 6. Any questions, comments, realizations? Text number 7 is among the most important verse of Nectar of Instruction. Text number 7 is the fundamental text and is talking about chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Text number 7 is the single most important verse that can sustain us in the process of sadhana bhakti. The title or the theme of text number 7 is chanting the holy name is the essence. So the instruction of Nectar of Instruction ends at the next verse, which is verse number 8, we'll soon discuss, which says Iti Upadesh Saram, which basically starts from here that we're supposed to chant the holy name. So I'll explain the disease metaphor as the theme of text number 7. Let's first read text number 7 translation. Kunal Prabhu, text number 7.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within the tongue, and this disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Hare Krishna.
So, the disease metaphor. Text number 7, the theme or the points that are covered here in the metaphor, the disease metaphor. First is the symptoms of the disease. Second is the cause of the disease. Third is the cure. Fourth is beyond cure. And fifth is happiness. So first, the symptoms of the disease. From the symptoms, we go to the root cause. Just as when you go to a hospital, you will say, I have a pain at so-and-so part of my body. The doctor does not give you a painkiller right away. He will first try to find the root cause. What is causing the pain? Yes, he may give you painkiller, but he will also try to first identify the root cause that is causing the pain. Similarly, I have no taste for holy name. I don't find Krishna consciousness relishable. These are the symptoms. And the root cause is my misdirection of my desires towards material because of avidya, because of ignorance. So second is the cause of the disease is two ways. There is individual ignorance, which leads to forgetfulness of the fact that Jive Swarupa Hoye Nitya Krishna Das, that I am eternal servant of Krishna. I have forgotten this. The eternal Swarupa of the Jiva is to serve the Lord. The soul loses this position because the soul forgets Krishna. So our hunger for happiness will then need to be fulfilled somewhere else if I cannot get happiness in Krishna, resulting in Maya catching the soul. The grip of the past impressions becomes stronger because of indulgence. Therefore, it becomes very difficult to get release from Maya. And this is how my disease keeps increasing. Therefore, scriptures tell us, work whatever is required at the level of duty to try to keep things materially stable, but focus most of your energy on spiritual advancement. And another cause of the disease is the collective ignorance. The atheistic leaders of the society, political leaders as well, these today's leaders, they don't care for God at all. Collective cause is that there is an overall culture of materialism and atheism which bombards people and leaves them no time, no energy, and no inclination to turn wholeheartedly towards spirituality. So why people don't have taste for chanting the holy name? First reason is there is individual cause for not having taste. And the second is there is collective cause also for not having the taste. The third point is the cure. The cure is chanting of the holy name. We have to chant attentively. Chanting is the easier process to purify ourselves. Chanting is easier because it does not require any gymnastics, etc. We get the cure at ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada says, this ISKCON is spiritual hospital to cure all of us. And then the fourth point is beyond cure. Coming to bhava stage means one is already healed, means one has started to experience spiritual emotions. And Srila Prabhupada says that coming to bhava stage is equivalent to awakening the dormant love of Godhead. So on your nectar of instruction chart, you can follow that how the texts are progressing. We are getting closer and closer to bhava and prema bhakti levels. So this stage, the bhava bhakti stage, is characterized with the symptoms that I have no bodily concept left anymore. I know I am not this body. Now, I may understand theoretically that I am not this body, but at the bhava stage, one has no connection with body. One understands I have eternal swarupa of eternally serving the Lord, and I have an eternal relationship with Krishna. Therefore, the one at bhava bhakti is not disturbed by Maya. And the fifth point is happiness. So I have to give up lower taste and move towards higher taste. Material happiness is not unlimited. Body's capacity to enjoy decreases day by day. Material happiness is false and temporary. Sense objects are temporary. Therefore, whatever pleasure will come to them will also be temporary. We have discussed in Bhagavad Gita 5.22, His Grace Chaitanya Chanda's very nice punchline. The false currency that keeps us trading in the stock exchange of illusion. The false currency is the sense enjoyment, and the stock exchange of illusion is the material world. That senses keeps us trading in this false stock exchange of material world. So what's the solution? Solution is spiritual happiness. But first, most people think I don't get pleasure because the objects are not good enough. The fact is that even if we had the best object, but our capacity to enjoy is limited. We cannot expand body's capacity to enjoy. And the solution, the way out, is spiritual happiness. In Bhagavad Gita 6.28, Krishna says we get spiritual happiness by contact with the Supreme Absolute Truth. The spiritual happiness comes not just by physical contact, example, touching the lotus feet. That's not what the spiritual happiness comes from. But the happiness comes from service. When we chant with service attitude, that's when we experience higher happiness of Krishna consciousness. While chanting, the soul is trying to contact Krishna. If we are not attentive in our chanting, then the soul is not contacting Krishna at all. Therefore, the chanting will appear like a burden. The question becomes, how do we proceed in pursuing this happiness? One of the important things to recognize is that my current condition is diseased condition. Conviction means we philosophically understand clearly that material pleasure will lead me to misery. Therefore, I don't want to go into this material pleasure route. Plus, I also understand that spiritual happiness may seem poison at the start, but will become nectar at the end. Therefore, I will pursue this spiritual happiness route. Commitment ensures that we keep practicing no matter what. Conviction alone will not help, but when combined with commitment, so when you have both commitment and conviction, that will lead to the cure. If I stop studying scriptures and philosophy, then my impetus to chant, impetus to connect with Krishna, impetus to doing devotional service will keep going down and down and down. That's a quick summary of text number 7. Questions, comments, realizations? Meghna?
So understand when you say happiness comes from service, because through service, soul is contacting Krishna. I'm drawing parallels between knowledge learned in a book and applied knowledge. Is that something to?
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. So Bhagavad Gita, for those from batch 6 and 7 we discussed yesterday, you read Bhagavad Gita 6.8 purport first line. It says book knowledge is useless. Why? Because if you are not applying, well, it's not going to help you at all. Therefore, our goal is not just to study scriptures. Our goal is to come to the point of living at the level of soul. Meghna, does that help you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Kunal Prabhu?
So, Prabhuji, like these verses, like 5 was something for our introspection, like we need to introspect whether we are Kanishta, Madhyam, or Samtikari. Then 6 was like how do we see other devotees, like we should not like judge them based on their body. Then 7 was again for our internal upliftment. So how is like this nectar of instruction is for internal view or like it is like an external view?
Nectar of instruction is for you to apply for yourself. The entire nectar of instruction is for you. Starts with Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, that you start first by controlling your urges, then avoid the 6 activities that are harmful, then do the 6 activities that are favorable for bhakti, then the 6 loving exchanges, and then all the association points of 5, 6, 7 that we have discussed so far. From text number 4 is the association point, that how do we associate with others. So entire nectar of instruction is for disciple.
Okay, got it. It is for us to uplift ourselves, not to judge others based on.
Absolutely correct. All these instructions are for us to apply for ourselves. Don't judge anybody. Everybody on the same page?
Can you explain collective ignorance again? Not able to
So collective ignorance is that If you look at the leaders of the world today, they are not interested in God at all. They are Shudras. They should not be sitting in leadership position. We have discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Abhishek Prabhu, you were also there in our last class. We discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, the first 6 verses, the principles of leadership. That king should be a representative of Krishna, and the duty of king is to help the citizens to uplift themselves on the path of spirituality, get out of material entanglement. The duty of a spiritual leader is to treat animals also as equal citizens. But what are the leaders doing right now? They are promoting slaughterhouses, they are promoting factories. None of them are promoting spirituality. So we also get influenced by their policies. So this is the collective ignorance that flows to us as well by the leaders not being Krishna conscious. Abhishek Prabhu?
So in one sense, we can understand it is more external, coming from outside.
You are correct.
Okay, thank you.
So text number 8 completes the Upadesh of Upadeshamrit. Means text number 8 completes the instruction of nectar of instruction. The instruction of nectar of instruction is to be completely engaged in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, text number 8, the Sanskrit ends with the words Iti Upadesh Saram, that the essence of all advice is to be completely engaged in Krishna consciousness. The theme or the title of text number 8 is Spontaneous Devotional Service in Practice. And the last 3 texts, text number 9 onwards, is glorification of Vraja, that how fortunate one is to be able to stay in Vraja. And then talks about Vrindavan, Govardhan, Radhakund, and talks about the hierarchy of people as well as devotees and the hierarchy of material and spiritual world. Brijesh Prabhu, are you able to read text number 8 translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The essence of, am I audible? Yeah.
Yeah.
The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Raja, Goloka, Vrindavan Dhama, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service.
So Srila Prabhupada translates Iti Upadesharam as full-time engagement, 24 hours a day in devotional service, following in the footsteps of great Vrajavasis from Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada's first focus is on the mind, that we have to train the mind. All ISKCON purposes involve changing the way people think and act, which is basically training the mind. So ISKCON is not primarily engaged in humanitarian effort like food relief, etc. But ISKCON's primary purpose is to train the mind. Training the mind is what essentially yoga is supposed to do. Training the mind means we get the mind to again become connected with Krishna. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada first says, why to train the mind? So that mind can be friend and not the enemy. Mind acts as enemy because of past impressions and because of externally tempting objects, or internally suddenly some dormant desires come up. And Srila Prabhupada calls this dormant desires arising as a very dangerous situation. Srila Prabhupada says this law of the last thought determines where we go after this life. It's described in Bhagavad Gita 8.5 and 8.6 also. That 8.5 says, if you remember Krishna, you will attain Krishna. And 8.6 says, whatever else you will remember, you will end up becoming that. So if a female has attraction for male, whatever be the relationship, father, husband, son, or even fantasy, the female will end up getting a male body. And similarly, if a male is attracted to a female, whatever be the relation, mother, spouse, daughter, fantasy, the male will end up getting a female body in the next life. So the remedy is to get rid of these past impressions by devotional service. Otherwise, these impressions will keep coming up. And these impressions will keep taking one away from Krishna. So almost all of you, not almost, I think all of you have heard the mind control lecture from His Grace Chaitanya Chandas. So the mind control lecture actually comes from Nectar of Instruction text number 8. So I have explained that I have incorporated the practice from Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion into our Bhagavad Gita study, and you can see it live, that how you are studying Nectar of Instruction almost 1.5 years afterwards, but I had given you Nectar of Instruction text number 8 mind control lecture when we were discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter number 2, where His Grace Chaitanya Chanda says, look at the mind before you look with the mind. Treat the mind as an untrusted outsider before you act on what the mind wants you to do. When a mind speaks something, first evaluate the credibility of mind's demands based on scriptures. That is this anukul for bhakti? If yes, then I will do it. Or if it is pratikul, if it is against bhakti, taking me away from Krishna, then I will reject. Mind speaks lies in 4 major ways. Means mind gives us troubles in 4 different ways. And in that lecture, Chaitanya Chandra is described with the acronym MIND. Anybody remembers, anybody wants to describe what does the acronym MIND stand for from the mind control lecture?
Yes, Prabhuji. M stands for magnifies problem. I stands for imagines pleasure, and for neglects opportunities, and D for denies reality.
Very good. Thank you. So M magnifies problems, that mind makes troubles bigger than it is. Overthinking makes the problem bigger than us. Overthinking makes us smaller because we think we cannot do anything about it. When going to God, saying to God that here is a big problem, means we are problem conscious and not Krishna conscious. So don't tell God how big your problems are. Rather, tell the problems how big God is. Therefore, look at the mind before you look with the mind. Then in the acronym I, the acronym mind, the I stands for imagines pleasures, that mind sees some object of enjoyment and the mind goes into fantasy land. Whenever mind starts imagining pleasures, catch your mind right away. Because those pleasures are sinful. Just the thoughts are going to contaminate us and may result in bad action. We have discussed this at great length, the fall down sequence in 2.62-63 verse with the word dhyato, that imagination is the problem. And then in the acronym MIND, N stands for neglects opportunities. That when mind not in control, we either lament for past or fantasize for future. Neither of them is good. Therefore, we have to be in control of our mind. The nature of the mind is that it makes us look at what we don't have and makes us dissatisfied. But we should not succumb to this. Right now, in the human form, do devotional services. And the D in the mind acronym denies reality, that mind refuses to acknowledge that the problem is the mind itself. Important for sadhakas to learn to control the mind. And how to control the mind is by first recognizing that the mind is out of control. And when we get the conviction that mind has been fooling us for so many lifetimes, then we understand. So we have discussed at great length that in our body, mind is a separate entity. Soul is also a separate entity within us. And it is this contaminated mind that has been taking us life after life after life after life for at least 155 trillion years in this cycle of creation. So this 155 trillion years calculation will come up very soon for devotees from batch 6 and 7 in 8.17 verse. We'll be doing a spiritual endeavor for this. So the solution, the more we chant, the more we study scriptures, the more we rise towards goodness, then we'll be able to catch the mind. So many devotees here coming for services at the local Toronto temple do practice to control the mind. So how to control the mind is by practicing devotional service. And Rupa Goswami recommends that we practice devotional service under a Vrajvasi. So we need role models. So we discussed at our yesterday's class about Vrajvasis, that Vrajvasis are left here in the material world, or they have come from the spiritual world for us to learn how to do devotional service so that we can perform devotional service in the spiritual world. And this discussion will get further discussed in Nectar of Devotion about following a Vrajvasi. It's coming up more heavy discussion. And if you look at the Sanskrit of text number 8, the third line says, Tad anuragi jana anugami. For us, the role model refers to Srila Prabhupada. So the verse actually starts with the Vraje, Tishtam Vraje, Tad Anuragi Jana Anugami, referring to a Vrajvasi as a role model. That Vrajvasi, that role model for us is Srila Prabhupada, as well as your living spiritual master also. So Srila Prabhupada has always been attracted to Krishna. Plus, Srila Prabhupada enabled all of us to also become attracted to Krishna. Through his actions, Srila Prabhupada exhibited the mood of selfless service. This is the essence of Vrindavan. Selfless service is the essence of Vrindavan. We'll discuss this in the next 3 verses in Nectar of Instruction also about Vrajvas. So our spiritual master, meaning the living spiritual master, is not independent of Srila Prabhupada. Rather, our spiritual master is representing Srila Prabhupada. Now, this question may come up, what does it mean to live in Vrindavan? Do we all physically go and live in Vrindavan? So the answer is Vrindavan or Vraja is not just a place. Rather, Vrindavan is a mood. The way we live in Vraja is not necessarily leaving our home wherever we are and physically moving to Vrindavan. No, that's not what Vrindavan is about. Rather, Vrindavan is internalizing the mood of selfless service, dedicating ourselves to fulfilling Krishna's mission, practicing and sharing Krishna's message. We can take a devotee out of Vrindavan, but we cannot take Vrindavan out of a devotee. Meaning, devotee's heart is always at Krishna's lotus feet, thinking about Krishna's message and Krishna's mission. These are also ways in which we are thinking about Krishna, or we at least should try to think about Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada came to New York for the first time, leaving Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada did not leave Vrindavan. Rather, Srila Prabhupada carried Vrindavan in his heart, and Srila Prabhupada replicated Vrindavan at all the ISKCON centers that he established. The Upadesh Saram is Kramena, means progressively. Progressively engaging tongue and mind in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of exalted devotees like Vrajvasis and spiritual masters. Imbibing the mood of Vrindavan. By this, one can attain perfection. And this is text number 8, spontaneous devotional service in practice. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. So I'm not going to cover any more text today because you already have a lot of reading to do from text number 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus the remaining 3 texts are anyway linked text to the topic that we'll discuss in our following class. So I request all of you for your next class, you can consider to also read text number 9, 10, and 11 ahead of the class. And at the next class, you can bring up questions. So there's no point writing questions in the Google form because there'll be some discussion and your questions will get answered. By all means, you can write if you want. But after we discuss text number 9, 10, and 11, you can consider to ask your questions right there. Because we'll finish Nectar of Instruction at our next class, and then following class, we'll discuss Nectar of Devotion. And Nectar of Devotion is pretty heavy. So we will not have time to discuss the Nectar of Instruction questions, and then they may drop out. So try reading not just text number 5, 6, 7, 8, but also read 9, 10, 11, and bring up any and all questions that you may have. So some of you joined couple minutes late. I will post again in the chat the Nectar of Devotion shell document that you should print, as well as the Nectar of Devotion invocation prayers that Srila Prabhupada has recited. Nectar of Devotion invocation prayers are slightly different. So you can listen. It's a very short clip. You can listen and come prepared with that. So I again will share my screen for the Nectar of Devotion shell document. So all these lines, boxes, dotted lines, straight lines, bold lines, everything has a significance, and you will realize when we will populate this chart. So print this on a legal size page as well as on the second page. So there are 2 pages. You have these charts. For chart number 4, draw this chart number 4 on a blank page. You have about 10 bullet points to write under these 4 columns. Questions, comments, realizations? Meghna, you had a question?
I was just saying, can you also please send the documents on WhatsApp?
Yeah, I will send it to you.
Thank you.
Rest of you? All right. Are we okay to stop here? Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.